Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivara Dari Jaya Guru Dari Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivara Dari Jaya Guru Dari Yashodanandana Jaya Vratujana Ranjana Jaya Vratujana Ranjana Yashodanandana Navranjana Jaya Vratujana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Yamuna Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava 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 Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Om Vishnu Paramahamsa Parivrakacharya Astuttara Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Das Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Ko Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Garadadha Shrivas Adhigor Bhaktarinda Ki Jai Samaveda Bhaktarindo Ki Jai Gaur Preminando. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Guranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we read from Srimad Bhagavatam, First Canto, Chapter 5, Text 38. Yeah? Okay. I can maybe just read the shloka, it's not so much time. Itimurti abhidhanena mantramurtim amurtikam yajate yagya purusham sasamyak darshana puman iti Thus, Murti, representation. Abhidanena, in sound. Mantramurtim, form representation of transcendental sound. Amurtikam, the Lord, who has no material form. Yajate, worship. Yagya, Vishnu. Purusham, the personality of Godhead. Saha, he alone. Samyak, perfectly. Darshanaha, one who has seen. Puman, person. Translation. Thus, he is the actual seer who worships in the form of transcendental sound representation, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, who has no material form. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Our present senses are all made of material elements, and therefore they are imperfect in realizing the transcendental form of Lord Vishnu. He is therefore worshipped by sound representation via the transcendental method of chanting. Anything which is beyond the scope of experience by our imperfect senses can be realized fully by the sound representation. A person transmitting sound from a far distant place can be factually experienced. If this is materially possible, why not spiritually? This experience is not a vague, impersonal experience. It is actually an experience of the transcendental personality of Godhead, who possesses the pure form of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. In the Amarakosha Sanskrit dictionary, the word Murti carries import and twofold meanings, namely form and difficulty. Therefore, Amurtikam is explained by Acharya Sri Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur as meaning without difficulty. The transcendental form of eternal bliss and knowledge can be experienced by our original spiritual senses, which can be revived by chanting of the holy mantras or transcendental sound representations. Such sound should be received from the transparent agency of the bona fide spiritual master, and the chanting may be practiced by the direction of the spiritual master. That will gradually lead us nearer to the Lord. This method of worship is recommended in the Pancharatrika system, which is both recognized and authorized. The Pancharatrika system has the most authorized codes for transcendental devotional service. Without the help of such codes, one cannot approach the Lord, and certainly not by dry philosophical speculation. The Pancharatrika system is both practical and suitable for this age of quarrel. The Pancharatra is more important than the Vedanta for this modern age. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swanti Namni Namaste Saraswati Devam Govravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Srinyavadi Pashkati Desatarne. Thus, he is the actual seer who worships in the form of transcendental sound representation, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, who has no material form. So isn't it amazing? This is Srimad Bhagavatam, spoken, written down thousands and thousands of years ago. And actually, here it conveys the same message like Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is written down quite recently. So isn't it amazing that this actually the Hare Krishna movement predicted, which is based on a transcendental sound vibration of the holy name. Now, this is why Srila Prabhupada, coming to the West, didn't actually start with deity worship. No. He didn't. The first thing that he has done was not installing deities. Actually, deity installation in ISKCON, when you look in the history of ISKCON, it's a quite humorous history. Srila Prabhupada didn't install any deities. He was installing Krishna by sound vibration. Simply chanting and writing books. That he always did. Even in the early stage, he was surrounded by people who had no idea what he is doing. But they found it very attractive. First of all, most of the devotees joining those days and even today are musicians. Somehow. There were many musicians. But not everybody. So they were going, wow. Even my father, who was a top musician, he never was interested in Krishna consciousness, but he found the kirtan very dynamic. He said, yeah, no wonder you are dancing. This is very, very dynamic. There was just material perception, midangas, So, now, I am not a pujari. I never was really regularly on an altar. Maybe I still will. I was thinking in this lifetime, maybe I have to learn a little bit about puja. But the first deities in ISKCON came on their own. Somebody brought a murti of Krishna. Was no Radha, nothing. Just Prabhupada, this you spoke about Krishna, that's him? And Prabhupada was going, Govindam Adipurusham. What shall we do with him? Prabhupada said, well, you have to worship him. Now you brought him. That was the first deity installation. And devotees already were aware that the deities in India have kind of different names. So they said, well, this is Krishna, but how shall we call this deity? Prabhupada said, this deity should be called the boss. That was the first installation. So, and he said, now boss is here, no more nonsense. And how they install him? They put him on something like this, like the stand, There's a picture of Prabhupada chanting, completely surrounded by smoke. Because incense was quite common amongst the hippies. So they're actually offering incense to the, murti and to the guru. So there is actually, in the original version, Prabhupada was sitting on a table. Because guru has to be high, so they put him on a table. And next to him was a flower pot with earth, and there was like 0.5 kilo incense just stuck in. So they smoked him in, you could see only the silhouette. There's a photo of Prabhupada, you see only the silhouette practically, because there's a 0.5 kilo incense burning there. And then you see in the back the first murti of Krishna standing there. There was no dress, nothing, just painted. So then it started. What shall we do with him? Prabhupada said, you offer to Krishna. Krishna says, whatever you do, whatever you offer in sacrifice, you offer it to me. Okay. Then the hippies start to bring offerings, like blue jeans. Because whatever you have to wear, that must be maha. So they offered blue jeans to Krishna, And they brought fruits, they brought flowers, Prabhupada just, what could he do? So he just encouraged the process of offering. So they offered everything to the boss, yeah. Now the boss was here, everything was offered to him. That was clear. So, and then they found out, actually in India, they dressed deities. So the Matajis were they are very skillful in sewing. So they start to make the first, dresses for the boss. And they made some dhoti, they learned this in a simple way. You know what they realized after half a year or something like this? This dhoti didn't fit. It was too small. They said, Prabhupada, this dhoti doesn't fit anymore. He said, well, he's getting a little bit chubby. You are feeding him nicely. So that's actually how the deity worship ended ISKCON. Then Prabhupada was extremely hesitant to establish Radha Krishna worship. He was from the beginning speaking about Lord Chaitanya, Gonitai, chanting. Representation of Krishna in the whole is sound representation. Prabhupada said for us would be actually sufficient. In our Hare Krishna movement, there is Gonitai, there is Panchatattva, there is the holy name, completely okay. But then devotees realized that Prabhupada was traveling with the small Radha Krishna deities, which turned out to be quite tedious. Prabhupada finally had to leave them in the care of the devotees in a further stage, which will more establish the movement. I think it was Australia. He left them and he prayed to Radha Krishna, please, I am leaving you in the hands of these mlakshas. Take care of yourself. I'm on a traveling. Traveling and deity worship doesn't really fit together. Like Prabhupada said, anyway, I could say more things, this is straight from Prabhupada, don't install any motors in vehicles, in moving vehicles, because devotees start to later on do that. He said, no, this is too dangerous. They can fall over, and you cannot fix them. Anyway, so when Prabhupada returned to Australia, he was amazed. He said, they're actually taking care of them very nicely. Then the word, of course, went around. Hey, in Australia, they have Radha Krishna deities. We want this too, we want this too. And there was a great push. We have to have Radha Krishna. So Prabhupada, very hesitantly, because he perceived already the future, that Radha Krishna worship invites sahaja. Here we are dealing with Krishna and his most intimate consort. Very, very intimate thing. Like when Prabhupada translated Krishna book, he was doing it relatively fast. And there was always competition between the publishers, editors, and Prabhupada writing. And Prabhupada was always ahead. He was going, hey, where's the editing? Pushing, printing, editing. But when it came Krishna book to the 10th canto, to the Rasa Leela chapters, Prabhupada slowed down. And the editors were wondering, why is he stuck? They said, Prabhupada, some problem? I said, no, I have to put it very carefully. So nobody misunderstands. Can you imagine Prabhupada giving us the most delicate and most intimate pastimes of the Lord in the hands of mlakshas? Let's be straight out. Mlakshas. What a daring thing to do. So Prabhupada was very hesitant with Radha Krishna worship. So we don't get the idea, hey, Krishna, Radha and me, good party here, isn't it? Therefore, even he said, after hesitantly permitting the installation of Radha Krishna deities, he said, we don't worship Radha Krishna. That's a permanent rule for ISKCON. We don't worship Radha Krishna, we worship Lakshmi Narayan in form of Radha Krishna. And Lakshmi Narayan worship is awe and reverence. Govindam, Adipurusham, reverence. Yeah? Respect. That's the first stages of bhakti. Not just, I don't want to sound too radical, but I am personally disgusted when I hear such a thing. Now, let's say some guests come in here, and he's very, very friendly. And he comes with his girlfriend. It can happen. And they go, oh, who is you? Oh, that's very nice. And who is this? Oh, that's my girlfriend. Oh, a girlfriend. Girlfriend. Oh, that's my friend. We wouldn't do that, isn't it? We are risking that you get punched in the nose. But with Krishna, no problem. His intimate consort, Radha is my friend. Very dangerous and very undecent. It's just on Radhastami, one of my best friends, a sannyasi, wrote to me, who are we actually to worship Radharani? We do that, of course, out of respect, but again, we are worshipping Lakshmi, Narayan. In this way, we are more on a safe ground, okay? So, I know I can get in trouble with this, but I'm amazed sometimes, Bhakta Ivan, he just put the vodka bottle away, and he goes, Hare Krišna, Radhe, 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 Radhe. Come on, just yesterday we were drinking vodka still. Hey, what do you know about Radhe, Radhe? So it's very dangerous. So we should be very careful and very respectful and approach Radha Krishna with a great respect. We are here confronted by the mercy of the Acharya with the most intimate pastimes of the Lord. It's amazing. You know what? And then they say, well, we have to go further. Prabhupada gave us the basis and we have to go further. What do you mean further? Where do you want to go further? Prabhupada gave Bhagavad Gita, okay? That's the basis. Actually, Prabhupada said would be enough. If we just would have a Bhagavad Gita, it's enough. Then he gave Bhagavatam. And then Chaitanya Charitamrita. Oh boy. I remember when Chaitanya Charitamrita was published, devotees were really confused. First of all, it's not chronological, it's nothing, it's just the essence, pop, love of Godhead. So devotees said, Prabhupada, what is this? And I said, Prabhupada, this is pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. I mean, it is a biographical book, in one sense. You can follow the Anjalila from Madhya to Anjalila. You can follow, but the shlokas come like, from all kinds of scriptures, puzzled about the most intimate, with no really big explanation to it, And actually, what shocked me was how radical the purpose of Srila Prabhupada are in Chaitanya Charitamrita. They are so radical that his own god brothers approached him and told him, maybe you should rewrite the purpose, because we are dealing with the most intimate pastimes of the Lord. And Prabhupada in a purpose is smashing sahajiyas. Smashing. Heavy purpose. There are many demons in this Hare Krišna movement. You know that? Hey, this is from a purport of Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's just to prevent that we become sahajiyas. Don't imitate, follow. There's a big difference between imitation and following. Imitation means cheap, no knowledge, no realization. And following means, therefore Prabhupada is using one word here in the purport, which I remember, we never remembered. When I was young, I joined a movement where the oldest senior Vaishnava was 22 years old. And he was 2 years around. That was a senior Vaishnava, So the word gradually doesn't apply to young people, It's just pure mode of passion, come on. Hey, let's progress gradually. Today, now. No, Prabhupada is using the word gradually quite often. And then when you get older in Krishna consciousness, you realize, it's gradually, yeah. It's really gradually. They ask him, how far did you progress in Krishna consciousness? I go, well, I don't know. I cannot leave it, that's for sure. That much I know. You know, you will find me chanting my rounds every day, and it was, you know, I cannot leave it. I don't know anything else. What shall I do now? You know, this is so nice when you get old, you know. Let's say when you turn around 50, which is for me like 21 years ago. So when you turn 50, you know, then the karmis help you. You know why? Because around 50, you don't get any job anymore. Nothing. This is a society where by age of 50, better you kill yourself. You know, there's no future for you in a society which is powered and hiring and engaging people maybe up to 50. Already after 40, it starts to get critical. This is a society made of passion. It's not made for old people. They have no even money for the pension. You've worked hard the whole life, and then at the end they give you a pension. You just can buy some potato. You know, yeah. Your whole life pay taxes, and then you can buy some potato. Well, that's great. This is really like this. Therefore, they are trying to heighten the pension age. Now it's by, I don't know, it's different in different countries. But, you know, now they go to 70, 75. Because they completely calculated by the age of 70, so many people are dead already. So no pension. We are saving money, right? People are dying. And just in a case that somebody would survive, well, we help you to die very, very nicely. By means of vaccination, I can say that openly. We will prevent that you get sick by killing you. Yes, certainly, this is a kind of prevention. I cannot get sick anymore because I am dead. That can be considered prevention, yeah. So, you know, so things like that. Governments calculate like this. They are not stupid. They have the statistics and they calculate. So this is helping also. Yeah, sure. What else do you want to do before you die? You can only chant Hare Krishna, you know. That's actually the only safe thing. Doesn't cost anything. Doesn't kill anybody. It's nice. So that word gradually is actually automatically installed. You just watch your body getting older and then you realize, better I surrender gradually. And actually better I surrender fast. Because this thing is falling apart. There is no shelter on the bodily platform. It's just finished. It's gone. So why should we worry the whole life about the future of the body? There is no future for the body. It will die, finished. It will be taken away. So what can we do? How can we actually approach, Prabhupada writes here, how can we approach God gradually? By study, Prabhupada, this is really amazing how he is expressing this is very carefully. You know, that we gradually become affiliated with the form of the Lord. I mean, let's face the facts. Most people, I remember first time I came to the temple. That was small, you know, early days, but there was already a deity on the altar. There was already Hare Krišna deities on the altar in Germany. And the pujari, here in this region, some may even remember still, Astarata, he was the first pujari I met. And he was a real pujari. He couldn't go even out. He could be 2 years on the altar. Every day the same puja, you know. I remember we took him on Sankirtan once. He was scared. He was going, whoa, such a big trucks here, you know. Whew, So much traffic, because he was so absorbed in the puja on the altar. So anyway, so when I came, there was nobody in the temple. Everybody was on Sankirtan. So he was going, very nice, you came. And then he immediately opened the altar. The darshan was, whoever came, there was a darshan. And when he left, there was no darshan. It was quite simple. So he opened the curtain, and he, with great pride, he showed me the altar. And then he closed the altar, so he said, so you like them? And I said, who? I absolutely couldn't see anything else as a big pile of flowers and the decoration. My eyes were not trained to see deities of this size. So I couldn't see anything. Most people are like that. You bring them to the temple, you show them the deities, and they go, yeah, altar. Yeah, that's like in a church. Yeah, they know that, yeah. That's where you pray. Okay. And then I go, who is this? I mean, it's very difficult not to see Panchatattva, That's already very difficult. You must see them. So, but from a mundane person, what does he see? He just sees 5 puppets standing on a shelf. That's his vision. He just sees, it's nicely painted, yeah, that's, okay. And decorated, yeah, it's nice, yeah, it's nice, but doesn't mean one damn thing to him. Not one damn thing, because he is not qualified. He didn't have zeen yet. Because when we are speaking about seeing in Krishna consciousness, we don't speak just about his eyes. The eyes are a very deceiving instrument. They always say, I don't believe what I don't see. And they have this kind of glasses, Like, I don't believe what I see. Now, these glasses are so stupid. When I put them on, this is reading glasses, so you are all mush. When now I can see you quite clearly, but I cannot read. So much for seeing. Depends on the glasses. And what people don't know, that our eyes are also glasses. Some people have a good eye, some people bad eyes. I was just last year going to an eye doctor because somehow I realized when I drive a car, it's not fog, it's my eye. The eye doctor was flipping out. He was a friend of a devotee. It was quite personal. He said, how could you, they ask you what you like to do, what is your preferable activity. I was going car driving. I'm in a car most of the year. So he said, don't tell me you are driving with this kind of vision. And I said, yeah, but, I'm from Czech, so you always must make some joke. So I told him, don't worry. In the opposite direction, they all moved aside always. And he was going, this is nothing to joke about. You are half blind. And I said, well, one eye was still somewhat okay. The other, nothing, was finished. So he was saying, this is ridiculous. So there's an operation in a few minutes. They give you actually a new glasses, but inside. They clean the old dirt and they put a new lens inside. They are very good. Kamis are very good with technical things, When it comes to disease, they don't know one damn thing. But when it's broken, or cutting and sewing, yeah, I know how to do that very well. So, so within a few minutes, I was looking, I was going, poof! Hey, I can see again. So, but still, what do we actually see? We see with our consciousness. Not with the eyes, with our consciousness. You bring somebody to Ljubljana to show him the town. What will he see? What he likes to see. You know. A lusty man will come to Ljubljana, he will go, so many nice girls here. He will not care for the other things. A hungry man, he will come to Ljubljana and go, so many restaurants here, that's nice. Yeah? So it depends on the consciousness. And that's what we are working with in Krishna consciousness. Our consciousness. The eyes, somebody may see more or somebody less, but ultimately you see what you want to see, where the desire goes. So when you want to see Krishna, Krishna is revealing himself. If you are just seeing some ritual, like in the church, Krishna can be a perfect statue. I remember in Sweden once a situation arose where Gandavika Giridhar, a beautiful deity installed in Sweden, in Krishna's goddess, close to Stockholm, they were so badly worshipped that our GBC here flipped out. You know, the worship came to a level where during the Arctic, the rats were running on the altar like this, back and forth. So our GBC flipped out. He said, if you want Krishna to be a statue, he can be a perfect statue. No response, nothing, just piece of stone. So even installed, we actually shouldn't be so sure that Krishna is always present. He can be a perfect puppet. If we are acting like, like Mayavadis, if we are acting like, impersonalists, then Krishna can be perfectly impersonal. I'm just a statue, look. However, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, as you surrender unto me, I reveal myself to you. So if we are actually approaching Krishna with devotion, with service which is very dear to him, then Krishna reveals himself. There are exceptions. I was personally present when Srila Prabhupada was brought during his last visit in England in front of the deities for deity greeting in Bhaktivedanta manner in England. That is not just my imagination what I am saying here. It was confirmed by all the devotees present. We were standing there, the curtain was closed still, and they brought Prabhupada. He was in a condition, he was practically dead. So they brought him on this chair, which was like palanquin, and they placed him in front, of the curtain, waiting for the deity greeting. The curtain went open. Govindam Hare Purusham. The whole temple was going, Why? Because everybody could see how the Radharani opens the eyes more and she bows slightly forward to look at Srila Prabhupada. Everybody could see that. After the, program, devotees were talking to each other. Did you see that? Radharani was opening the eyes and she was going like this, looking at Prabhupada. Just on Prabhupada. We were like, that was the only time I can report I saw deities really alive. Otherwise, I am happy going to any deity greeting because if I cannot see Krishna, at least he can see me. Prabhupada said we should act not with the intense greed or like violently trying to see Krishna. We should act always first understanding Krishna sees us. And when we understand that, then Krishna may reveal himself more. And there is a possibility, everybody has the chance, that he will really, according to his devotion, he will really start to understand, oh, he is Krishna, really. Isn't he beautiful? You know, that emotion is there. Especially the song, Govindam Nadi Purusham. When this was recorded by George Harrison, it is, even from a musical point of view, it's a genius recorded songs if you know something about music. When Prabhupada heard that song first time, he broke in such an ecstasy. He cried, and instantly on the spot he said, this should be played every day at the Deity greeting. Completely violating Lord Chaitanya's instruction for a sannyasi, never listen to a singing of a woman. Hey, there's a woman singing. Prabhupada didn't care a damn. This was so wonderfully recorded, wonderfully sung, with most enthusiasm. I spoke to devotees who were in a studio recording the song. You know, they said it was a great thing. George Harrison was on the mixing board and he was there. You know, yeah. He said it was just great. We had a big party. It was not some, you know, recording can be very tense, you know, it's just perfect, you know. No, they said we just had a big party. It was quite spontaneously, and of course George Harrison made additionally some musical arrangements around that. He mixed into it. But they said it was great. You know, Yamuna, I think, was singing, you know. Yeah. And we were going, this is so great, let's record another song. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya. It was like bang, 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 bang. You know. And they had a big party. And George Harrison was just recording. And then he fixed it up a little bit, you know. He knew how to do that. So it's the devotion which changes our sight, not the eyes in themselves. The eyes are very deceiving, you know. We shouldn't trust our eyes, actually. We should trust and serve our Prabhupada in the second portion of the purport writes the mantra and the process how to realize God in His Nama, in His name, in His transcendental form, in His sound vibration, must be authorized by an Acharya. It is because Srila Prabhupada gave us the Hare Krišna mantra. It is because He enabled us to chant like this, we have a chance to realize God in a form of His sound. There must be a spiritual supervision. And again, this is a difference between serious devotee and sahaja. Sahaja, no supervision. He just trusts his emotional impression. You know, I saw in Vrindavan beautiful bhajans, that's many, many years ago, just sitting on a street, local bhajan band. I mean, beautiful melodies, you know. And then, you know, when the leader with the harmonium, he was like, la, 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 la. It was just a Mataji sitting there, and him. And the Matajis were like, ah, and he was singing so devotional. Then I realized, on the harmonium, he had a stuck cigarette. It was smoking there, and he was like, and between the bhajans he was going, and then put the cigarette back. And it was not nicotine. I am not expert, but I dealt with so many devotees who are expert, so I can realize if somebody is smoking hashish, you know. So, you know, so he was like, oh, la 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 la, you know, bhakti. No wonder when devotees came first time to Vrindavan, they were also carried away. It's such a beautiful melodies, bhajans. Prabhupada said, they are all sahajas. They were like, wow. So once again, in our chanting, the effects of chanting, our perception of chanting has to be all authorized. This to be all monitored by a guru and by the parampara. Then we can be safe. We are gradually progressing to realize Krishna in his form and in his name, then we are on a safe ground. And Prabhupada was very liberal, very liberal. Like somebody brought, Gopal, Murti. Prabhupada didn't say put it away. No, he said, well, he came. Then somebody showed up with some figure, black, very simple, carved. He said, Prabhupada, what is this? And Prabhupada was going, Jai Jagannath, And then he said, Jagannath came to San Francisco. He said, but there are two more, one white one and one yellow one, isn't it? Yeah, this is a souvenir shop. They are selling it like this on baskets, Yeah. So he said, bring the white one, the yellow one too. That's how Lord Jagannath and Subhadra and Baladev were installed. And I remember, spontaneously, I don't think this was authorized by Prabhupada, but because there was a whole basket of this, Jagannath and all this, devotees ran and they bought the whole shop empty immediately. And everybody, I remember American devotees still visiting in Germany, which was rare, it was very special for us. They were visiting from America. We always thought, America, that's already Vaikuntha. They are already, in Vaikuntha there. So when they came from America, they all had their little bags hanging here, either with Baladev, with Subhadra or Jagannath, just hanging here, sitting inside. And they were going to the shower with it and to the toilet, it was like hanging here, So I think Prabhupada, this was not authorized by Prabhupada. So he was very, very, very strict about deity worship. There are two things Prabhupada was worried that we will speculate, and that's regarding his books and regarding deity worship. And then devotees installing already Hare Krišna or big deities. They said, Prabhupada, there's some more mantra, rules and this, regulations. So what shall we do now? Prabhupada said, I don't know. Prabhupada said, I never lived in a temple. But go to him. He said, some of my godbrothers are very good because they never preached and they lived only in a temple. So they are expert. So in regards to deity worship, go to him and ask about the ceremonies and the procedures and all this. Unfortunately, devotees ask also about other things, not about deity worship. And then lots of trouble came into ISKCON. Actually, the first really good trouble in ISKCON came from India. That was when devotees started to go to India. Prabhupada couldn't figure this out in an initial stage, but he said, this is an understanding which completely destroys this movement. Where is it coming from? He said, these Western people couldn't speculate like this. Then he found out, that comes from those who came from India. He called it a conspiracy. He really called it a conspiracy. So we should not just go to India and going, Now I could say more controversial and radical things. It might have been conditioned by that particular devotee and by that particular time, but the first time a devotee brought a Shila from India, from Govardhan, Prabhupada told him to pack it in, get a ticket back and put it exactly there in Govardhan where he took it. This was known. So in my generation there was no Shila worship. No. Nowhere in ISKCON. I don't know that, and until today I don't know what it is actually, because I never came close to it. I don't know. But please, I don't want to discourage, I don't want to spoil somebody's fun, but this is the movement I come from, okay? And this is just once again demonstrating how strict Prabhupada was. Now somebody may say today we have more qualified devotees, and definitely we have more qualified devotees. We have more Brahmanically educated devotees. But again, Prabhupada writes here, it's not a question of academic, philosophical expertise. It's a question of personal understanding of God. Therefore, he didn't encourage wide distribution of deities. He didn't encourage, of course he said that was by the time Grihastha started to come up. So he said, and he writes in his books, when a Grihastha lives in his home in a location which is practically, is a very difficult time to access a temple, then he should worship his deities. Gwanitai, basically. Why not? Prabhupada recommends this even. But then he says something more radical. If a Grihastha lives in a physical reach of a temple, that should be his deity, the temple deity. You know? And it has a far-reaching consequences. Because the more we come together in front of the deities, the more easy it is to be together. And when everybody has his deity at home going, you know, my puja, don't come here. What happens? The whole movement disintegrates. It becomes a, disintegrating thing. So there is more to it. Now I'm saying maybe a little bit too much. Because I'm kind of late, I'm just describing something which, something else already happened. I know that, I'm aware of this, but still I dare to mention this because this is coming directly from Srila Prabhupada, that he perceived the future already. So this is a difference between Kanishta Adhikari and Madhyama Adhikari. Madhyama Adhikari is enthusiastically worshipping the deity together. He thinks, oh, please come. And I saw such a pujaris even. Wow. I come from a movement where the pujaris were just waiting for the devotees to come back. And it was such an interaction with, because I never was a pujari. I was a street man, I'm the, bang, 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 bang. I'm the, I'm the street guy, not so subtle. So, so I always admired pujaris. First of all, because of their regularity. It's a very austere service. That means every day on the minute you are there. Bang, 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 bang. You do it for some years, that's serious. So I was always very respectful. Wow, puja is so pure. We had in Germany a rule, whoever distributed most books that week, he could do puja mangalartig for Madana Mohan. So I was for 4 or 5 years number one, so it was me. But first time it happened, I went to Astarata Prabhu and I told him, I cannot do Artig. I have no idea. I cannot be on an altar, I am so impure. And he said, you were distributing books the whole week. You are completely purified. That was the understanding. And then he put the plate in front of me. I had no idea. I said, what shall I do? It was just before the Mangala-artik, you know that? The Mangala-artik started in 10 minutes. So I was just, And he said, look, you've been first this, then this, then this. And then he looked at me and he saw, this is a hopeless case. So he said, you just take it and you make 7 circles to the deities and 3 to the devotees and put it back. So, so I was going, but you are chanting all these mantras. I don't know anything of this. He said, he looked at me like, just chant Hare Krišna. That was my first pujari service. So I did it. It was funny because the Sankirtan results were read after the lecture or after the deity greeting. But everybody knew already who is number one because he was the guy on the altar, in a Mangala-artik. you know. So I offered the ghee lamp, you know, and I offered the chamara to my competitors. You know, we had a heavy competition there going. In a well-wishing mood. Wait, next week. Ha ha. I put it back. So that was our puja. I don't know if Madhana Mohan accepted that, but they were our deities. And we prayed to them. Our prayers were not, give us our daily bread. No. We couldn't care less for the bread. Our prayers were, please. We were crazy. We were quite fanatical, you know. We walked the whole Sunday. That was the only day we were in a temple. So we walked the whole Sunday with books in the hand. Whenever you saw a devotee, he had a book in the hand. We were in front of the deities going, Krishna, next week, 500 of these, please. This was our deity worship. Please, Mama, please. This was actually what we did. And we were chanting in a kirtan with the books. So, Hare Krišna, Hare Krišna, Krishna, Krishna, you know. We were quite fanatical, yeah. So, and the deities did respond. Like Germany, there are different deities. You may not believe that. But even the pujaris coming from India, when they saw in Germany Madhana Mohan, they said, very difficult deity. They copied the German mood. Very mystical. Are you serious in Krishna consciousness? They're very difficult to approach. Actually, there's a book, published by Madhuseveta Prabhu about deities, which was very amazing. It was a Mataji who traveled around and photographed all the deities in ISKCON, here, everywhere. And we couldn't stop laughing, going through the book, Mexico, Radha Krishna. They look quite Mexican, you know that? Then you go, Germany, you go, oh yeah, that's Germany. I mean, it's amazing. It's just totally amazing how Krishna manifests along the condition and the mentality of the local people, It's just shocking. It's just wow. And usually these deities were very often coming in a very mysterious way. Like German Madhana Mohan was brought in by Hansatutta from India because we rented a castle and there must be a Radha Krishna in the castle. Now, first of all, deities should not be installed possibly in a rented places. Nishingadev, forget it. Nishingadev can never be moved. Gonitai you can move. Radha Krishna I cannot say. But, but Nishingadev, once installed, you don't move. So you must own the property, to say at least. In India, old ancient Nishingadev temple, they are finished, they fell apart, but the deity is still there. In the jungle. The pujaris go, through the jungle, and they chase the snakes away and they make puja and they go back again. So Nishingadev, no moving. So Madhana Mohan, Hansatutta just brought them. And he wrote to Prabhupada, we have now Radha Krishna deities too. Can we install them? Prabhupada wrote, no. You have an ecstatic Sankirtan going on. Gaunita is completely okay. No Radha Krishna in Germany. Just maybe later, but not now. That letter arrived one day after the installation of the deities. Woo! They were so greedy and they were so eager, so they didn't even wait for the response. So this is the history of Madhana Mohan in Germany. Nishingadev, nobody in ISKCON knew how to worship Nishingadev because Prabhupada said you worship Nishingadev by chanting twice a day Namaste Narasringaya. That's it. Nobody knew how to worship Nishingadev, but Nishingadev was worshipped. So, anyway, the history of Simhachalam in Germany, I was there from the beginning. It's quite funny one too. That temple was actually selected, and that location was selected as the ultimate shelter because the Third World War is coming. It's on a Czech border. That was a communistic iron curtain there. So it was calculated when the communists are attacking, then they will roll over the border, not much fighting the first, 100 kilometers before the, alarm goes on, and then the inland is that the real fighting starts. So the communists will just roll over us. And just in a case they bought one gun, we will protect ourselves too, but one gun. And then it will be a self-sufficient farm, we will grow our food here, and we will survive the, even atomic war. There's an atomic bunker under the Goshala in Simachala. This is the only atomic bunker in Germany, in South Germany, I think, which is under the Goshala. This walls like this, and there was even boxes with chemical suits for chemical warfare. Anyway, this is the history. So this is the origin. And so we stay protected, Nishangadev deity will be installed. Now, where to find him? So Krishna Kshetra Maharaj, those days Krishna Kshetra Prabhu, was traveling to India, and he was for many years the minister of puja, of deity worship in ISKCON. He's just a born pujari. Until today, if anybody wants to know something about puja, go to him, please. And he is wonderfully pragmatic. He is not just a stiff, smarta Brahmin who just pushes the mantras. No, he's very practical. When you want to really know something, that's the person to ask. Anyway, so so he was traveling South India, researching Nishingadev, visiting all the old, ancient Nishingadev temple. He told me stories, it's incredible. He was trying to communicate with the local pujaris, trying to find out. And he ordered also a murti being carved, which is, Prahlad Nishinga. There are different forms of Nishingadev. There is Ugra Nishinga, There is Yogi Nishinga. Nishinga to cool down practiced yoga. That murti is also there. There is Ugra Nishinga, he is full in action, And then is Prahlad Nishinga. So he selected the Prahlad Nishinga form, and they carved it there. It took quite a while. It's heavy granite, black. So anyway, there was So he came back, and he told me really wild stories. He said, these Nishinga temples are amazing. The Nishinga Bhaktas, he said, they grow hair like lions, like this. They don't cut nails. They have sharp, long nails. And when they chant the Nishinga mantras, they get in ecstasy. They just roar and shout and jump. He said, proud kirtan. So, so we don't do that. But anyway, I could go now for hours. We are getting really late. I don't want to take half a day of anybody, but I can go for hours. There are so many stories connected to the deities. How Lord Nishingadev arrived in Germany, and they called, or he came by ship, and they called already from the harbor. It's a relatively small box, They said, what's in that box? He said, this is so heavy, we cannot even lift it. They had to get a special machine to lift it. And they put it in the truck, and the truck was going, So they were going, no, this is too heavy. So when Nishingadev arrived finally from Hamburg, from North Germany, on the German farm, it arrived on a construction trailer. They would transport the digging machines or whatever. There was a little box. And it was so big they couldn't turn around. It was a small road, It was a whole sink. And then they put Nishingadev. There was garages like that. He was standing there for quite a while because the temple was not yet finished and they were preparing everything. And then how to get him in a temple? Oh my God! This was like you have to go stairs up and then they say prepare podest, and you click in with bunch of 5 ingredients each underneath, and then you click the deity in, and then it's permanently installed. No more moving. So, and the first installation, Arctic, I end up in a hospital, Yeah, I remember very well that installation, Arctic, because I end up in a hospital. The temple room in Simhachalam is not bigger like this. Relatively small. It was packed with devotees. And the pujaris, while first offering first Arctic to Nishingadev, they were so ecstatic. So at the end of the Arctic, they took the paraphernalia from the altar and they started to throw it on devotees with such a power. So I was standing with Rohini Sutta Prabhu in a bag. There's like a big door in a bag, and I was standing there in a bag. And then came this flying, these bananas and everything into the crowd, And devotees were just, catching everything. Then I noticed Rohini Sutta was, you know him, he's a bit fragile, a skinny guy. So he was standing next to me and he was like, and he was fainting. I caught him because we had always this little bit relationship. I was the bodyguard, So I caught him. I was going, what happened? Then I realized he got hit by a coconut flying from the altar. Whole coconut just bang on her head. So I was like, ah! Then I realized there's blood everywhere. So I got, Rohini, you got hurt. And I looked at him and he was not cut. Then I realized, this is my blood. Because the second coconut flying was broken. And it's quite sharp. And it cut up here my eyebrow. But we were so in ecstasy, I didn't notice one damn thing. So, and there's lots of blood coming here when you cut. So it was blood. I was going, ah! Then I ran out of the temple and I started to laugh, really laugh. Because outside were all the guests sitting on the benches. And they didn't dare to come in because the kirtan was so ferocious. So, and then boom, the door was open and then a bloody covered man comes out. They were going, oh, now human sacrifice. And I saw their faces, I was just laughing. Laughing bloody man, that was really something. So devotees drove me to the local hospital there and they just saw it together. In 2 hours I was back again, So it was nothing. I have a very limited pain perception. So I was like, I looked funny, with the stitches here. And I was again in a kirtan, Haribol, Haribol. The pujaris came and they apologized. And I said, come on, it's just ecstasy here. What happened to the blood? I said, oh, we cleaned it up, it's okay. So this is happening when the Lord really appears. And why does he appear? Because of the devotion of the devotees. As you surrender unto me, I reveal myself to you. It's the same thing with chanting. Prabhupada was commenting and he was quite upset. He said, he writes in Chaitanya Charitamrita in a purport that some of our members of society are producing simply hissing sounds, no chanting. He said, you have to chant very distinctively. And Prabhupada said, feelingly. He called it feelingly. It's a personal saying. Krishna is not different from his name. So how do we treat the name? How do we treat Krishna? That would be not the worst version. The worst version is and then he falls asleep and you go, Prabhu, wake up. And he goes, don't disturb me in my meditation. Because the first thing which wakes up is the false ego. So, sometimes it's difficult. Brahmacharis used to be disturbed in the early stage about Mataji's chanting in the same temple room. because they have a different tune, you know. They go, it's like Mickey Mouse. So, you know, and brahmacharis are going, this is too much, you know. Do I have to, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare. And then you get this in the back. You know. So they told Prabhupada, cannot Mataji's chant somewhere else? You know what Prabhupada's answer was? He said, if brahmacharis are disturbed by the chanting of the Matajis, they should all go in a forest and chant there. It's a very peaceful place. So it was a clear sign. Just shut up and tolerate. You know? This was Prabhupada's concept of this movement. This is just to encourage Matajis. It's amazing. Matajis I didn't show so much with this, we call it diving mantra, you know. You know. They don't do this so much. They are more patient. They go, you know. But man, they are just... It's very demanding to chant next to somebody like this because it's infectious, you know. You listen and you go, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Ugh. You know, yeah. So we should be considerate to both things, to the devotees around us and also to the fact that we are having Krishna worshipping in his sound murti. It's Krishna in his sound form. That's not a joke. It's a serious thing. And then Krishna reveals himself. From inside, you realize, actually I shouldn't be so happy. But I am chanting and I find myself being completely happy. Krishna is on my tongue. Krishna is here. I don't want to go further with this. You have your schedule here and your timing. I will respect that as much as I can. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.